So today I want to talk to you about the efficiency of superheaters. There's a lot of ambiguity out there about what's efficient, what's not, what's a BTU. Everybody's throwing phrases around like 35 million BTU, 10 million BTU, and I just want to explain it to you very quickly what we are talking about. When we're talking about efficiencies, we're talking about the amount of fuel needed to heat up a certain amount of water. In this graph you can see that Surtec uses 87% of a gallon of fuel that goes directly into heating a fluid, whether it's frac fluid, water, produced water, you name it. 13% of it just goes out in smoke. When you look at legacy superheaters, 60% of their diesel or natural gas or energy goes into heating the fluid, and 40% goes out the stack. Now, that represents a 27% difference on this chart. However, this is where things get interesting. In order for a legacy superheater to achieve the same results as a Surtec heater, you need to stretch out their heating ability at the same baseline, the same net output as Surtec. Okay? So that means 60% and 40%, or 50 and 60%, which means to heat the same amount of fluid as Surtec requires a legacy superheater to use 45% to 75% more fuel, more energy to heat the same amount of water as Surtec can heat. So, fuel consumption on superheaters, this is based on 1 hour of time. Most superheaters out there will label themselves as a 18, 25, or 35 million BTU. What they're referring to is the amount of input in 1 hour. So, a 18 million BTU heater will consume 18 million BTUs in 1 hour, which is equivalent to approximately 131 gallons of diesel, 17,600 cubic feet of natural gas, and 190 gallons of propane. What this chart shows you is the consumption of various superheaters in 1 hour. Surtec's Major uses 11 million BTUs in 1 hour, 18 million BTUs in 1 hour for the 18 million superheaters, 24 in 1 hour for the 24 million BTU, and 35 million BTUs for the 35 million BTU. But here's where it gets interesting. The gray areas represent the fuel that goes up in smoke, that's just not used. That's the inefficiency of the boiler. You can see here that Surtec, about 14% of it is smoke. Here you're looking at 40%, 40 to 50% goes up in smoke. So an 18 million BTU heater actually outputs just a little over 10% more than Surtec's 11 million. Two Surtec machines can output nearly the same amount as a 35 million BTU burner. So you can see that the fuel costs, the fuel savings rather, are going to be significant because of the net output of Surtec's Major versus that of legacy superheaters. When talking about the properties of fuel, we use the U.S. Department of Energy's properties of fuel chart, which diesel has 137,380 BTUs per gallon of diesel. Natural gas has 1,020 BTUs per cubic foot, and propane has 94,410 BTUs per gallon. You just simply can't get any more energy out of a gallon or cubic foot of energy, of fuel. So, what's the real world cost benefit to you? Well, for instance, a 6,000 cube C ring. We need to heat it from 0 to 20. We need to heat, that'll take 476 million BTUs of heat, of raw heat. That doesn't account for any efficiencies, that doesn't account for heat loss due to weather conditions or the environment. That's simply just simple mathematics. Those variables, those other variables are the same for everybody. They do make a difference, however, because of your inefficiencies of legacy superheaters. So let's take a look. Here you can see the baseline of heat required is 476 million BTUs. That's the baseline. Because of the inefficiencies, Surtec needs to burn about 400 gallons more just to heat that water up. You can see that that would require 547 million BTUs, and then the properties, if we were to use diesel, it would be about 4,000 gallons of diesel, or 537,000 cubic feet of gas, and 5,800 gallons of propane. Now, you go to a legacy superheater using their 60% efficiency scale, you can see how much fuel they need to burn to heat the same amount of water. It represents 45% more fuel than Surtec needs to heat the same body of water. So as you can see, there's a huge amount of energy that's going up in smoke. You can download this chart to see for yourself a little bit more detail. Start saving money today and call Surtec.